Hi everyone. I will give it a second for all the platforms we're streaming on to catch up. We're live streaming to our YouTube channel, on our LinkedIn and on our Facebook channel. So let's give it a minute. We know that sometimes Facebook needs a couple of seconds to catch up. Welcome everyone to my session today called Is the War for Talent Back On? And if so, what does that mean for employers and candidates? Now, when we talk about a competitive environment when it comes to candidates, we need to look at two things: the supply of candidates and the demand for candidates. What does that specifically mean? And for those who are not familiar with Career Angels, we are a European career advisory boutique that also offers outplacement services. We work with 9 business schools across Europe where we lecture on career management and job search topics. And as you can imagine, for the last 16 months and counting, we are now officially starting month number 17. One of the questions that we receive most often, almost on a daily basis: is it a good time to look for candidates? Is it a good time to look for a job? Should I take a job offer? Should I stay put? What should I do? Now, some of you might have already observed that something positive is happening on the market, but how positive is it and where does it happen? Now, when we look at the supply and demand from a candidate's perspective, why would we care about that piece of information? Because it helps us estimate, helps us, meaning the candidates or us career advisors, how long our client, how long an experienced manager or executive should plan when it comes to their entire job search process. On the other hand, from an employer's perspective, knowing whether there is a war for talent helps us decide whether and how much more we need to offer candidates. Are we at the beginning of scarcity, etc., etc.? So let's have a look. Now, in order to be able to say, so is there war for talent? Are we already in a competitive environment? Are we back to pre-COVID times? We need to look at the data. Spoiler alert, it will depend on the country, so please bear with me. We have data for 80 countries worldwide, and we will have a specific look at what's going on in Europe. So, what's super interesting, when we look at the demand for candidates, for experienced managers and executives, the KPI that we have chosen to track and monitor are the number of published job ads on LinkedIn. And what is super interesting, over the last 16, almost 17 months, the world synchronized a couple of times, meaning that across all the regions, Europe, Africa, the Americas, and the top global economies, the top 20 global economies, we had almost identical tendencies that you can see highlighted here on the slide. So in the week of November 22, February 22, March 8, March 22, up until April 26, and now in June, the world has synchronized, meaning the demand for candidate and how the global economies decided to react to COVID-19 was identical. So let's dig a little bit deeper. In Africa, we track 10 countries, the biggest 10 countries according to GDP. And in those countries, when we compare and summarize the month of June, so what you can see there in the box, we see that the top 10 African economies have lost 5.41% in demand for candidates. The winners are South Africa, followed by Ethiopia, with the smallest decreases, and actually Ethiopia should be before South Africa. And the losers of June in Africa, so where we see the biggest decreases, Ghana minus 60%, Algeria minus 34.68%, meaning that a third or two-thirds of the job ads, of the demand for candidates, have disappeared within 1 month. If you want to know more about the African countries that we track, we have a relatively recent update, March 21 update, that you can download from our website directly. Market signals, careerangels.eu/market signals. Now, we then also follow the Americas, meaning 19 countries in Northern, Central, and South America. And let's see what happens there. The Americas in general, all 19 countries, plus 7.36%, so overall that's good. More specifically, biggest monthly increases, Paraguay, Haiti, Honduras. Biggest monthly decreases, Cuba, Ecuador, El Salvador, where a third of almost a half of the job ads have disappeared within a month. That's quite substantial. And again, if you want to dig a little bit deeper into what's happening in the Americas, you can download the full report from the website careerangels.eu/market signals. Now, what's even more important are how the top 20 global economies are doing, including the US, China, Japan, Germany, UK, India, France, Italy, Canada, South Korea, Russia, Brazil, Australia, Spain, Indonesia, Mexico, Netherlands, Switzerland, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. In case you're wondering, economy 21 would be Poland. Looking at the top 20 global economies when it comes to the demand side, otherwise how much more companies are hiring in those countries, Spain in the month of June is up by 318.48%, Switzerland is up, Germany is finally up by 34%, Japan, UK, etc. Where we see a slight decrease is Australia with minus 1.58%. And the worst results go to Brazil, Saudi Arabia, and South Korea. So what does that mean? If you are in the green countries, being a candidate is easier because more companies are hiring than in May, for example. Now, let's specifically also look at the US. US, when it comes to June, we have a plus 2.52%. increase in the number of job ads. UK has been did very well when it comes to June, plus 27.13%. Finally, China minus 8.04%. And now our European focus. In Europe, we track 38 countries. And not only do we track the demand for candidates, but we specifically also look at the unemployment rates. Because understanding unemployment, so supply of versus demand for candidates, gives us a pretty good idea if we have war for talent or if we can actually, well, one of the sides, depending on the situation, is then stronger. Either the candidates are stronger, then we talk about a candidate market, or the employer side is stronger, then we talk about an employer's market. So let's see specifically what's happening. So Europe, finally, overall, there is demand for candidates with plus 26.61% in June. When it comes to the region that has caught up the most, that for the last 16 years was constantly, actually the worst or one of the worst regions, is Southern Europe. That is defined by us, Italy, Portugal, Spain, and Greece. Finally, plus 98.16%. So adding another 400,000 job ads. That's almost 500,000 job ads within a month added in those countries. Then we have specifically when it comes to the June winner in the country category in Europe, it's Spain with an increase of 318. So they tripled the number of job ads. Now, when it comes to the loser category in terms of region, that's the Baltics. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania with a slight decrease of minus 4.79%. Given the upward trends that's been going on for a long time, it's actually not that bad. And the losing country is Slovakia. Looking at June, they have lost more than a third of their job ads within a month. So minus 36.62%. And this is, from a candidate's perspective, a substantial decrease. On the other hand, for employers, it's, I want to say good news, but it means that there are fewer opportunities. You can search for candidates longer, etc. Now, Germany, an important economy, if not the most important economy in Europe. Germany finally sees an increase in the number of job ads, has seen a long negative trend over the last 16 months. They've increased the numbers by 8.26%, which 8.26% is maybe not 100 or 300%, but in an economy as big as Germany, it means 500,000 new job ads added to the job market in Germany. So that's very good. The Nordics, here also worth mentioning, Denmark, Finland, Norway, and Sweden, they've seen an increase of plus 19.55%, so another 32,000 job ads. So where, if at all, do we see war for talent? Which markets have become more competitive or are back to pre-COVID times? So let's summarize. When we look at the change in the number of job ads last year versus this year, for all 38 European countries that we monitor, 35 countries have seen an increase in the number of job ads as compared to pre-COVID times, which is very good. 3 countries have not seen that increase yet, so they're still down. When we look at the changes in unemployment rates during COVID-19, and here we have access to the data of 29 countries, not all the 36 countries. Here we can say that in 19 countries, unemployment is still up. In 2 countries, it's back to the same level. And in 8 countries, unemployment is actually down. Very specifically, you can look at the precise data again on our special report, LinkedIn job ads versus unemployment rates on our webpage, careerangels.eu/market signals. But for us, what does that mean specifically? So I wouldn't call it yet a war for talent, but I would call a certain group of countries competitive, which means what if the unemployment is down or has come back to the same level as pre-COVID times and the number of job ads is up. So more demand for candidates, less supply of candidates. Where does that happen currently? Bulgaria, Croatia, France, Latvia, Lithuania, Malta, Norway, Poland, and Switzerland. On the other hand, the least competitive markets, meaning unemployment is up, more supply of candidates, job ads are down, meaning no or less demand for candidates. You can pick and choose. Overall is Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Slovenia. One country that's catching up and moving towards the more competitive market is Luxembourg, where unemployment has already decreased, but the number of job ads isn't yet fully at or above the level of pre-COVID times. When it comes to the remaining 15 countries, unemployment is still higher than pre-COVID, but all of those 15 countries already have an increase in demand for candidates, meaning that if you're a candidate in those countries, you are on the more winning side. I've already hinted at that while talking. So and I get those questions once in a while, but so what? What does that mean? How does that connect to my own situation as a candidate or as a recruiter, for example? So what that specifically means for employers, that the more especially in competitive markets, means there are less and less candidates that you have to actively try to attract to your companies. More demand for candidates, meaning that the salaries go up again and the benefit packages also go up. When you look at country-specific surveys, you will see that during COVID, the packages and the add-ons decreased from about 9 to 6 or even 5. On the other hand, now those packages and what companies are prepared to offer to candidates increases again. So employer branding and employer branding activities are also more important again. If you need support in that, or you're still more on the restructuring side, you can, of course, we would be more than happy to support you and your companies or employees. So you can get in touch with us and request an offer. Simply contact my colleague Anna Zadrożna at the email address zadrożna.ena@careerangels.eu, or you can also check out our website if you want to see what it is that we specifically and actually do. Now, on the candidate side, if you are in a competitive job market, it means that you don't have to put in as much effort in a job search. If you're in the least competitive markets, you remember the list of countries, that means that you as a candidate will have to most probably put 2 to 3 times more effort into your job search, and your job search path will also be then much longer, 6, 9, or even 12 months. Irrespective of the type of market situation that you yourself find in, what has changed over the last 16 months is that you as a candidate need 2 CVs, 1 CV for the human target group, the recruiters, the network, etc. And you need a CV that is prepared for applicant tracking systems, which are on the rise when it comes to using tools in sourcing and recruiting candidates. Interestingly, a side note, 99% of international corporations use one form and another of applicant tracking systems. And when you look at the executive job market segments, experienced managers and executives, 60 to 70% of ongoing open recruitment processes also go through applicant tracking systems. So the fact that you are a board member doesn't excuse you from not having a CV version dedicated to ATS. Then, what else? So we said 2 CVs. As a candidate, you should be actively using all 4 job search channels, meaning contact headhunters proactively, apply to job ads, approach potential employers directly, and of course, use your network and develop it further. And what is also true, especially for competitive job markets, consistent personal branding and developing your executive identity is key, and that will not change anytime in the future. So if you are, on the other hand, a senior candidate who might need support or guidance, get in touch with me, bichel.sandra@careerangels.eu, to receive a CV report or schedule a free career consultation that is, of course, absolutely confidential. Okay, so summarizing, is the job market picking up? So let's see where we stand as of early July 2021. So since January 1st, 2021, more than 6 million job ads, there was more than 6 million more job ads available for candidates globally. Out of those, almost 2 million job ads go to the European countries. And overall unemployment rates have started to decrease, and the tendency is still there that they will, even for those countries where they're not back to the same levels, the tendency is definitely one of decrease and hopefully soon getting to pre-COVID times. Having said that, because it does sound very hopeful, I would still be cautious because there are major players, Commerzbank, Deutsche Bank, Mitsubishi, Tesco, Carrefour, Aegon, that have in recent months publicly announced that they're still planning layoffs. Commerzbank, 10,000 employees, Deutsche Bank, 18,000, Mitsubishi wants to exit Europe by 2023, etc., etc. So overall, yes, we can be hopeful, but I wouldn't say that we're completely out of the woods yet. And before I get to the Q&A, if you do have questions or you want to share your insights in the comments part, either on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, if you say, okay, I'd like to know a little bit more about Career Angels, you can check us out on Udemy. We have a course uploaded there. We have a YouTube channel with over 150 videos. We have now our regular LinkedIn live streams scheduled on a Friday at around lunchtime. And if you say, okay, this is really cool, I like the know-how, the tips, and the fact that you collect data, you can also say thank you. You can follow our content or buy us a coffee. How to do that, you'll find it on the link that you see here on the slide, careerangels.eu/how-to-thank-us. Now, if at this point, I'd like to thank everyone who has decided to share the lunch break with me in the last 20 minutes. So thank you for joining. If you have comments, questions, or you'd like to share your own experience, please use the comment section. I will see your comments. So I think this is now a good moment to do that. Let's give it a second, see if somebody wants to interact with me here today. On the other hand, if you don't feel like interacting because it's too public and it's live, feel free to send me an email to sandra.bichel@careerangels.eu, and I'll be more than happy to get in touch with you by email or find me on LinkedIn, and we'll then message via LinkedIn. So let's see if we have any. I'll give it another 20 seconds. Sometimes the system needs a couple of seconds to kind of feed in the comments from the different platforms. Okay, seems we won't have any comments. That's fine. It is at the end of the day Friday, good weather in most of the European countries. So thank you once again for joining. Have a good weekend. And I'm looking forward to summarize July at the beginning of August. Have a good weekend and enjoy the summer. Bye.